Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi has described as baseless accusations of high-handedness against opposition political parties in the state. The governor said this while answering questions about alleged excesses of the security network Ebube Ago on the news last night.
Encourage them, even election, I have had to give them money because I like somebody who will tell me that my clothes is torn. But regrettably, there is no opposition in Ebonyi State. You have haters and falsehood, spreaders. That's the kind of thing you have. You don't have people that can say to engage constructively in realities. Just darken counsel without knowledge. Let me explain something about the issue of the order that we made concerning holding rallies in schools and the market. And let me say that we are not the first to make such order. But people that think that they can take over the state with falsehood and hate speeches, they have to think twice because it's not going to happen. So what we said is that from experience, when you hold rallies in schools, where you have boarding schools for women, there have been cases of rape. That is on one side. When you hold rallies in schools, infrastructure that are destroyed, they chase the schools, the classes that are destroyed, and then defecation is, happening everywhere. They have no control measures, where people defecate, and then the pure water, sachets, litter everywhere. And so what we are saying is, look, when a school is in section, please don't go to hold rally there. And totally, we ban holding rallies in girls' schools. We don't want you to go and hold rallies in girls' schools. But in other schools, you can hold rally, provided the school is not in section. And we are saying, look, you've got to deposit money, so that, and it is refundable, deposit, and it's in our, executive order. And when you hold rally and you finish your rally, you make sure you've not destroyed any infrastructure. You make sure that you clean the environment, and then you collect your money. And we've said to the Commissioner of Education, do not unduly withhold any, assent when they apply.
The governor of Ebonyi State there. Well, a coalition of civil society groups and united political parties of Ebonyi State have called on the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, and Department of State Service to take note of the flagrant abuse of power and human rights abuses by Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi. Speaking to journalists, the groups accuse Governor Umahi of gross abuses and repression against opposition parties in an attempt to frustrate their participation in the 2023 general election in the state. Well, the state government recently signed an executive order against unauthorized use of primary and secondary schools' premises or fields, markets or motor parks for political rallies ahead of the 2023 general elections. While the order also bans the use of motorcycles beyond 7 p.m. daily across the state, while the civil society groups say Governor Umahi is using the state militia body, Ebubago, to harass people of the state who do not share the same political stance with him.
That it is an act of unconscionable corruption for Governor Umahi to ban other political parties from campaigning in the state, even when Umahi himself has converted Akan Ibiam International Conference Center, which is a public property, to be the secretariat of all Progressive Congress APC, and is campaigning freely in public spaces and with public resources.
There is no good faith in this executive order of Governor Umahi. It's only targeted at the opposition. It's only targeted at frustrating members of the opposition from holding campaigns in Ebonyi State. So that's why, for him saying that he just saying you must pay 5 million, but you will write an approval. Before is when you got an approval for you to use the place that you will go ahead to pay 5 million. An approval they will deny you, they will not grant to you. That's why we are insisting that this executive order will not stand. It's against the ethos of constitutional democracy. It's against the provisions of Nigerian constitution and any law in Ebonyi State.
All right, we have a lawyer and a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA Human Rights Committee, Maxwell Opara, and Chinedum Elekwachi, Chairman, COP Ebonyi State, joining us tonight on Newsnight. Thank you both of you gentlemen for joining us on Newsnight. Maxwell Opara, you are a lawyer. Let me start with you on this executive order put in place by the governor of Ebonyi State. He says it's not necessarily directed at any opposition, that it also applies to his own party. What do you make of that? And is he empowered by law to come up with such laws?
It's very unfortunate that all this is happening in Ebonyi State. Just like the governor said, it's not the first place that this kind of order is being made. And I just want to say that it has been there in some other states. Now, coming to also that of Ebubago, we have other security outfits, internal security outfits, just like in Ondo, where we have Omoteko. But that of Ebonyi State, I think the one why people are complaining is the way the governor is going about it. Because one, yes, under section 11 of the Constitution, the State House of Assembly have the right to make a law for internal security of the state. Now, the question there is that particular law must follow the due process. As we speak now, I have tried to Google that law establishing a bag in Ebonyi State. I can't lay hands on that law. I have called some journalists that I know, do you have this law? No, they said they don't have the law. Where is this particular law? Just like the law establishing in Ondo State, that one is a public document, a law of every state, even in local government bylaws. They are public documents. You should allow people to have access to it. You can't continue to refer to this particular law. Why people are complaining? If you watch, there is what we call evidence of similar conduct or evidence of previous misconduct. There is the issue of adopting people, opposition in Ebonyi State. We have the other one of Linus Okore. We have the other of journalists. How those people who kicked against the policy of the governor. Either the governor will attack them or you hear that they have been adopted. Not to say that it's the governor, but people continue to lay accusing finger on Ebubago. I think this is the right time the Inspector General of Police should come in, because even from what we even read, is there on a public, if you go you see it, where they say that they are even working with police, the Commissioner of Police in Ebonyi State. It's a very heavy allegation. So the National Security Advisor should also move in. The Inspector General of Police should also move in to investigate this particular allegation, because a situation whereby a vigilante or internal security of a state have taken over the power of the police under Section 214 of the Constitution, it may lead to anarchy.
Okay. All right. But the governor did say that Ebubago is working with other security outfits in the state. But let me bring in Chinedum Elekwachi, chairman of COP Ebonyi State. What's been the experience of COP? I mean, the governor says this law is to protect the girl child. Don't campaign in girls' school, particularly. Is to help to protect public infrastructure. Don't deface them with your posters. And if you do deposit 5 million naira, it is refundable. If you're done with your campaigns and the government ensures that you did not deface the property or did not, cause any harm to the environment and those involved, you get your 5 million naira back. What exactly is the problem here?
Is that the law is simply targeted at stopping opposition political parties in Ebonyi State from holding political campaigns. There is nothing like defacing public schools. If that was the target, why is that this law did not come up before this time? Ebonyi has been existing before this season of election. If that was the case, it should have come up before this period. So I think the governor, His Excellency General David Umahi, is looking for what to use to cover up his antics and the target of stopping opposition political parties in Ebonyi State from holding political campaigns. We saw this coming, and it's not unexpected. So now that it's happening, we are beckoning on our governor in good faith that this executive order legates ethos of constitutional democracy. The Constitution empowers only the legislature to make laws. The function of the executive is to execute laws made by the legislature. So our governor should know that this is Executive Order 3, 2022, is not in conformity with any known law in the country. And for that reason, is against the constitutional democracy. That's why everything about the law in entirety is condemnable and unacceptable to Ebonyi people. We are calling on Governor Umahi to reverse the order.
Let's ask you very quickly, Mr. Elekwachi, did you put in to use a venue anywhere in Ebonyi State, deposit 5 million naira, and you were denied? That's why I asked you, what has been the experience of COP or political parties in the state that you are aware of and you do have the evidence?
Initially, before this order came, the chairman of Onitsha local government area, who is Mr. Chidebere Ozo, publicly issued a ban of public gathering in Onitsha local government. That was an antidote of this executive order coming. Also in the same Onitsha local government, they banned a candidate of the Labour Party of Onitsha West from holding a football tournament he organized for his supporters. This was an antidote of this executive order. And now this executive order is coming to be an official target of using to stop opposition from holding campaigns in the state. So from what has happened of the declaration of ban of public gatherings, which was initiated by the executive chairman of Onitsha local government, Mr. Chidebere Ozo, and the coming of this executive order, that means there is nothing different or target in this executive order, and that's illegal ban.
All right, so let me come back to you, the lawyer, Maxwell Opara. It is said that, governments make laws for good governance, and one would expect or think that that is the driving force behind the executive order that the Ebonyi State Governor, Dave Umahi, came up with. Isn't there some kind of, bias already that makes, COP and other opposition push back on this law, not just the executive law, but the issue of Ibubagu and other actions taken by the governor of the state? What exactly, do you have proof, that you can bring to the table and say, based on this and this and this, we can confidently say that Dave Umahi has been an emperor, as some say, and has not provided a level playing field for all parties to operate? Yes,
to start with, there has been an obedient movement march in various states, including FCT, including in Lagos. When it gets to Ebonyi State, they were tear-gassed, all accusing finger pointing to the governor. Now, we have, I just use the one of Ondo State, Omatoko. It has been there. All that controlled by the law established by the Ondo State House of Assembly is signed by the governor. And they have been moving, working in line with the law. Nobody has, the Ondo State governor has never used that particular security outfit to attack opponents. But now, Ibubagu, we even had that a place they call Old Government House in Abakaliki. They have been accusing, saying that they detain people there. One expected Inspector General of Police, upon receiving this information, you move in. As we speak now, when I was coming, somebody called me that I should also let them know that some people are still trapped into that place. Is Ibubagu Nigerian police? Do they have the right to prosecute? Do they have the right to investigate? One, even ordinarily, every citizen have the right to arrest. The law said when you arrest, you do what? You hand over to police. Now, Ibubagu now, if you watch the two APC states we have in the southeast, I'm talking about Imo State and Ebonyi State, that are carrying this Ibubagu on their head. Look at the atrocities they are using Ibubagu to commit. We are all here in Nigeria when 14 youths were murdered by this Ibubagu outfit.
But these remain allegations.
Yes.
And we heard from the governor himself yesterday on this show that Ibubagu is not above the law. If indeed it is proven that Ibubagu infracted the law, in any way or form, Ibubagu will be arrested and face the law.
That is where I cannot even blame the governor so much. I blame the police. Remember when Mbadunju was governor of Anambra State? Mbadunju was using Bakassi to intimidate people. They used Bakassi even to kill the former NBA chairman Onitsha. What did police did? The police went in, arrested all those Bakassi boys, and they clamped down Bakassi. So this Ibubagu, the way the thing is going, if they don't checkmate Ibubagu, it's going to cause a lot of atrocity in the southeast, especially Ebonyi and Imo. Now, if everybody is accusing the governor, watch the person that was adopted and kidnapped I'm talking about Linus Okoro. This is the opponent of Dave Umahi in his senatorial ambition. Watch the other journalists. Now, have you asked yourself, why is it that nobody that is not an opposition has been arrested by Ebonyi in Ebonyi State? So when you place this thing side by side, you discover that the Dave Umahi, the governor of Ebonyi State, has a lot of questions to answer. And the earlier he stopped this thing, the better for him, because one, he's even making himself unpopular. Yes, you are building roads, you are building bridges, and the people are not safe. You don't have opposition. Then how popular are you? So, and most of the, I know one journalist, one of your colleagues, he can't even move into Ebonyi State. When I posted this thing that I will be here this evening, he replied to me that as he speaks to me now, he can't even move to Ebonyi State simply because he questions some atrocities of Dave Umahi. Open telephone line, you see what people will tell you that is happening in Ebonyi State. This is our country, for Christ's sake. Had it been that what's the name, Martin Elechi handled him in this way, would you have been a governor? The answer is no. So when you rule, you allow people. If you are popular, people will vote you in. If you are not popular, people vote you out, so that we move forward ahead. That is my own position. So what I'm saying is that let the National Security Advisor, the DSSS, and the police move and clamp down Ebubago, because the purpose of establishing it has been defeated. They are taking the work of the position of the police. And finally, right. Listen. You cannot kill somebody's breadwinner and you allow that person to fold hands and watch you, that you're a bubago. The person will never leave you. The person may retaliate. So that is the reason why government should come and...
Have there really been any formal, you know,
I can
applications to the police?
I can mention those that have been kidnapped, adopted by a bubago. Those that have been tortured.
Have these cases been formally reported to the police?
And they are saying, that the Commissioner of Police there is working with them. So that is why you need to either you remove the CP or you bring a neutral person to checkmate what they are doing, and go to that old government house to ransack that place to check what is happening there.
Interesting allegations there. The governor did also say that some members of Ebubago have actually been taken to court because they were found wanting. But let me ask you, Chinedum Elekwachi, beyond this press conference, beyond urging the Inspector General of Police and others to intervene in this matter, what are you doing to ensure that, we have a peaceful, safe election process in Ebonyi State?
Operates within the rules.
For those of us in opposition, we're trying to engage the stakeholders and opposition figures in the state. The consultation is on and the negotiation. But the momentum the governor is setting in place is already giving room for uncertainty and unnecessarily heating up the polity. And that's why we are calling on the governor that his anti-democracy tendencies be reversed in Ebonyi State, should not be continued. The Ebubago should not be used for the oppression of opposition in Ebonyi State. It has continued repeatedly. On the dawn of every day, opposition members are adopted. If you have contrary opinions to the policies and programs of Ebonyi State government, they will come after you and visit you with koboko. So this is the reason why we are calling on the government and the Inspector General of Police to come to the aid of Ebonyi State by totally disbanding Ebubago security outfit. We have no record of any security issue that have helped to checkmate in Ebonyi State, other than abduction of opposition figures, oppression of Ebonyi people. The consultant of Ebubago is the state chairman of APC. In the clip you just showed, is the man standing in between the guys. So there is no neutrality in Ebubago. We've seen it that the main target is for the operation to be used for the 2023 political election. And that's why we are saying that Ebubago should be disbanded immediately, or they should develop a new template of operation for them, for the sake and safety of Ebonyans and for a peaceful election in Ebonyi State.
Pray for our international viewers who don't know what koboko is, that's the horse whip. But we must thank you very much. As I said, we do hope for a peaceful environment, electoral environment in Ebonyi State. Let's thank you, the NBA Human Rights Committee member, of course a lawyer, Maxwell Opara, and Chinedum Elekwachi, chairman, COP. That's the coalition of political parties in Nigeria, I think. Yes. COP, Ebonyi State chapter. Thank you both for joining us on the news tonight.